What's up? What's up? I want to take a few minutes to talk to y'all about why I created the Spirit of 47 podcast. So, if I can give y'all a background story, because I know some of y'all are probably wondering, what is Bryson up to these days with Spirit of 47, with 1847, and what does that mean? So, it all started back in 2020, October 2020, late summer, early fall 2020, in which I launched a T-shirt brand based upon Dalton, Georgia, my hometown. And I had it in mind because at the time I was living in California in the Bay Area, and I met so many people. I had the opportunity to meet people from all over the world out there, and as I would get acquainted with folks, I would tell people I was from Georgia, and people would just assume Atlanta. Uh, of course, you're it's kind of an easy assumption. A black guy from Georgia uh, is from Atlanta. But all jokes aside, actually, I was honest with people. I told people I was from Dalton, Georgia. I kept it real. I didn't put on any airs, or I didn't do anything fake or phony. I just told people, hey, I'm from Dalton. It's my hometown. And so that's what I kind of led my conversations with when people would ask me where I was from, and I would go even farther and let them know, hey, this is where carpet is from, and or where a lot of carpet is made. It's a carpet capital, yada yada yada. So, at the risk of me rambling, that was one of the things that inspired me to launch 1847, formerly known as Dalton Legacy, and people were really excited about the product at the time. They really liked what I had to offer. They liked some of the merchandise that I had, and it was cool. And of course, a lot of circumstances kind of popped up in the last maybe year and a half or so, in which I had to put that on hold for a while. And as recently as May of this year, I circled back, and I wanted to really relaunch the brand and revitalize it in a certain way, because I felt that I was more of an asset to what I was doing with this brand this year, because I was actually back home in my hometown, back in Georgia, back in Dalton. So I felt like I would be more of a help to help the brand grow more organically, as opposed to me working from a remote standpoint out in California and still doing things to build up the site and build up the brand. So May of 2024, I relaunched the brand, the clothing brand, which formerly was known as Dalton Legacy. And I decided to, kind of clean it up, give it a rebrand. And here we are with 1847, which some of you may know was the year that Dalton, Georgia was founded. And it was a play on that word. And as things started to roll throughout the remainder of the summer, from May until this point, late September, as of this recording, going into early October, I started to notice that as I was creating designs for the T-shirts and the hoodies, and really getting the site set up, setting up a social media presence on the site, I started to realize that 1847 is not only just a clothing line, it's also a storyteller, if you will. It's a storyteller of the carpet capital. It's a storyteller of, this town in northwest Georgia that's approximately equal distance between with Knoxville and Atlanta. What's that? I've heard people say that it's about equal distance between Knoxville and Atlanta. I got to look that up and see if that's true or not. But either way, I just saw that what I was doing with 1847 was definitely a real storyteller, and because of that, I wanted to put together a podcast in which I could really give people from this town a platform. I can give people a voice, and allow people to really share their stories on this particular platform. We've had some great guests so far, and we're going to have many more because we're just getting started. But with that being said, um, Spirit of 47, brought to you by 1847.com, is the podcast in which I highlight Dalton natives, people who live in Dalton who may not be from Dalton, but people who live in this community and really add to the community and are really stand-up citizens. These are people I really want to highlight, people I want to have conversations with, and that's what I'm going to do. And so here we are with Spirit of 47 podcast. Spirit of 47 podcast was launched in reference to the Spirit of 76. Some of you are familiar with history. You are aware that the Spirit of 76 was a concept that came about because people were very patriotic. People were very proud of their country. And I took inspiration from that to make Spirit of 47 from the Spirit of 76 concept, because 1847 was the year that Dalton, Georgia was founded, and here we are, Spirit of 47. And that's pretty much the long and short of it. I just wanted to talk about why I created this brand and why I created the podcast. So I think it's important that you really look at all of the good things, all of the positive things that exist within your community. Sometimes people may want to harp on some of the negative things or some of the things that are unsavory or not quite to their liking. Me, on the other hand, I prefer to focus on a lot of the positive things. I prefer to focus on people who really make the city go round, people who are very interesting. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about their titles. It doesn't have to be about anything like that. It can be about everyday hardworking people who really make a difference in their families' lives, not just the community, but just from a household standpoint, people who make a difference there. And that's the whole DNA of what 1847 is about, whether you're wearing a T-shirt that says Loop Run, or a Newtown T-shirt, or just anything from the site per se, or you're tuning into this podcast, you will find the DNA of Dalton, Georgia, throughout these two particular channels. So I wanted to make sure that I kind of put that out there. I feel as if I owe that to the audience. I feel that you all are a really intelligent group of people who consume a lot of content, like all of us nowadays. We all are tremendous content consumers nowadays. And I thank all of you all for taking the time to, check out some of the content that I'm putting together. That means a lot, because you could be tuning in to one of these big budget, multi-million-dollar studio podcasts or television shows or movies, which a lot of y'all will and still do, as do I. But you're here, and that means a lot. I appreciate it. We're going to get this thing rolling. And 1847, here we are. You can go to 1847.com and pick up this shirt. Spirit of 47, Dalton, Georgia, established 1847. You can pick up this shirt at 1847.com, along with many other cool T-shirts, hoodies, and soon to be released merchandise of other varieties. So check us out and stay tuned to our podcast. Here we are.